They say money can't buy happiness, but it can certainly buy a front row seat to your own betrayal. My name is Ethan, and for 3 years, everyone in this city know me as the guy who makes a mean latte. I worked at the Daily Grind, a high-end coffee shop in the heart of the financial district. I wore a stained green apron, I smelled like burnt beans, and I took orders from arrogant executives who didn't even look me in the eye. One of those people was my girlfriend, Sarah. We met when I was just starting out, but as the years went by, her love for me started to fade, replaced by a hunger for a life I supposedly couldn't give her. She wanted the penthouse views, the designer bags, and the roar of a Mercedes-Benz engine. She didn't know that while I was steaming milk for $15 an hour, my laptop was a gold mine. I had been running a network of automated YouTube channels and investing in distressed real estate since I was 19. By 21, I was a millionaire. By 22, I was bored, so I kept the job. I liked the anonymity. I liked seeing the world from the bottom up. But Sarah, she hated the view from the bottom. The tension started 6 months ago. She began staying late at work. She bought new lingerie that I never saw her wear. And then there was Mark. Mark was everything I wasn't. He was a VP at Global Tech, drove a silver S-Class, and wore watches that cost more than my supposed annual salary. I knew they were seeing each other. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just started moving my chess pieces. It's funny how people become careless when they think they're smarter than you. Sarah thought I was too simple to notice the smell of expensive cologne on her neck, or the way she hid her phone under the pillow. One night, she left her iPad unlocked. I saw the messages. They weren't just having an affair, they were mocking me. Mark called me the barista boy. Sarah replied with, "He's a sweet loser, but he'll never be a man like you." That was the moment Ethan the barista died, and Ethan the investor took over. They planned a business trip to the Grandview Hotel, the most prestigious hotel in the city. Little did they know, I had been eyeing that property for months. The owners were in debt, looking for a quick exit. I called my legal team at 3 a.m. "I want the Grandview," I said. "I want the deed, the staff, and the security system under my name by tomorrow afternoon. Pay whatever they want." The next morning, I went to work at the coffee shop one last time. I made a perfect heart in a cappuccino for a regular customer, hung up my apron, and walked out without saying a word. I went straight to my tailor, picked up a charcoal gray suit that cost $5,000, and drove my blacked-out Mercedes, the one I kept in a private garage Sarah never knew about, straight to my new hotel. I spent the afternoon in the security room, watching the high-definition feeds. I watched Sarah and Mark pull up in his silver S-Class. I watched them laugh as they walked toward the reception, thinking they were about to have the weekend of their lives in the royal suite. My heart was pounding, but not with sadness. It was the adrenaline of the kill. I waited until they reached the front desk. Sarah was acting like a queen, demanding a room with the best view. Mark was throwing his black credit card on the counter like it was a weapon of mass destruction. That's when I stepped out from the manager's office. The look on Sarah's face was worth every cent I spent on that building. Her jaw literally dropped. "Ethan, what the hell are you doing here? Did you follow me? You freak," she hissed, trying to keep her voice down. Mark stepped in front of her, puffing out his chest. "Listen, kid, I don't know what your problem is, but get out of here before I have you arrested for stalking." I didn't flinch. I looked at the receptionist, who was trembling. "Is there an issue with their reservation, Maria?" I asked calmly. She looked at her screen and then at me. "Yes, Mr. Miller. Their card was declined, and their reservation has been flagged for immediate cancellation." Mark turned red. "Declined? That's impossible. Do you know who I am?" I leaned over the counter and looked Mark dead in the eye. "I know exactly who you are, Mark. You're a VP at Global Tech, and since I own the holding company that just bought out your firm's office lease this morning, you're also technically looking at your new landlord. As for the hotel, well, you're standing in my lobby." The silence was deafening. Sarah tried to grab my arm, her voice suddenly sweet and trembling. "Ethan, baby, it's not what it looks like. We were just—" I pulled away. "It's exactly what it looks like, Sarah. You wanted a man with a Mercedes and a hotel suite. You had him all along. You just didn't have the vision to see past the apron." I turned to the security guard. "Escort these two off my property, and toss their bags on the sidewalk. I don't want their cheap energy in my penthouse." As I watched them stand on the curb in the rain, waiting for an Uber because I had Mark's company car towed for unauthorized parking, I realized something. Living well is the best revenge, but owning the ground your enemies walk on, that's even better.